Welcome, undrafted hockey fans. I am Brad. Today we are going over some NHL news. So we were going to go over the NHL prospects. I think I'm going to say that for either tomorrow or the next day. But today we're going to go over some NHL news because there's a lot that came out that I just haven't been covering. And we got a little bit of Red Wings news as well, and a little bit of drama with McDavid. I mean, so it's all very exciting. But like I said, there's a lot of good stuff to be covering, and a lot of I'm a big contracts guy. I like to know who's good comparables and everything, and kind of who's setting the standard when it comes to contracts and everything. So we're going to jump right into that. So let's just jump into the big news with McDavid, because this is a big deal. So I'm going to play the video on the screen. As if you're, by the way, hit like, subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're on Apple Podcasts, 5-star, it really helps me get all the views in and everything. So, but anyways, we're gonna play a clip from McDavid, just talking about something that he had said when he was at the Canada camp and everything. So it's kind of a big deal. So I'm going to play it right here. So listen up.
A shorter term deal, though, does financially, but for a lot of reasons, seems to make sense. We've seen other guys do it. The NHL obviously reduced the length now down to 7 moving forward. Is a shorter term deal, whether it's 2, 3, 4, does that make more sense because it gives you more options?
I said all options are on the table, and that would mean length of term, short term, long term. Yeah, no term. That's it's all options are on the table, as I alluded to, and so that would include a short term deal. Yeah.
That is crazy, by the way. That is nuts. I can't believe that he said that. So it could be a short-term deal, a long-term deal, no term, meaning he walks himself to free agency. I literally did a whole video on this about if the Red Wings got McDavid, right, in a trade or whatever it be. I mean, you basically have the whole farm, right, for McDavid. But it is crazy, man. Like, this is a guy, like, we could see a John Tavares type of situation, right? Where you have McDavid goes back to Toronto because that's where he's from. That's where he trains in the offseason and everything too. Like, this could be a genuine thing where he ends up going, like I said, leaving for Toronto, which everyone would hate, right? And I think that may be the only way that he gets out of this alive, I would say, is, hey, if he goes to his hometown team, and if he goes, like, because everyone wants McDavid to win, but if he goes to Toronto, I heard someone, it was a DJ, no, it was Nick Alberga, I think it was. He was, or someone, no, it was, I forget who it was. Anyways, they were like, if McDavid left, he'd have to go to Toronto because it would be the only way that I hate him, because I want him on my team so bad. But they're like, hey, I just don't want him to be. I hate the Toronto Maple Leafs, so I'd be happy that he went to Toronto so he could lose in Toronto. Like, that's basically what he was summing up to. I was like, that's crazy. That's just crazy nuts, dude. And the fact that he said no term, that's just like the drama that I was like, holy smokes, dude. Like, it's crazy, man. It's honestly, it's just so crazy. So anyways, this is like the most wild thing that I've heard. It's a wild piece of news, and honestly, I'm eating it up. I'm absolutely eating it up. So, but anyways, let's jump into another piece of news. Talking about the Red Wings again, and we have a nice little piece of news. Dylan Larkin is ranked in the top 50 of players in the NHL right now. Top number 41 as a top 50 player, and everyone has talked about how there's so much conversation in the Red Wings, like news cycle, I guess, everyone in the Twitter sphere, right? So it's high quality news, right? But there's always talks about how Dylan Larkin is not a 1C. He's not a first line center. He is absolutely a first line center. Is he the best? Is he in the top tier? No, that's the McDavids, the Matthews, the McKinnons, right? The Draisaitl. That's basically Barkov. These are like the highest of the highs, right? But this is a guy that is absolutely, he's killing it. He plays a premium position in center, right? And I absolutely know the Ottawa Senator fans are just going to be seething right now because they have Dylan Larkin over Tim Stützle, who has scored more points in a season than Dylan Larkin. But Dylan Larkin is a two-way center, so he's not going to put up all the points, but he's going to be phenomenal defensively. He plays on penalty kill 1. He plays on power play 1. He plays the most 5v5 minutes of any regular player, like any forward. And this is very exciting. Again, look at the list right now. At 42, 43, and 47, you all have Ottawa Senators. So it just shows that Ottawa Senators have some some pretty good players up there, right? Just not as good as Dylan Larkin. And I'm just like, I'm obsessed. Like I said, I'm obsessed with this. I love it. This is great. I'm all about it, guys, boys and girls. So it's a nice little piece of news that I really enjoyed. And I was like, I'm really happy for that. So, so just moving on from this as well, we also have a former draftee of the Detroit Red Wings, Donovan Sabrango. His mother's so adorable on Twitter, by the way. When was he drafted? Let's pull this up. Either way, he signs a 1-year contract with at the league minimum, $775,000 with the Ottawa Senators. He was part of if you remember, he was part of the Alex DeBrincat trade. Trading, it was Kubalik, Donovan Sabrango, a 4th-round pick, and a 1st-round pick for Alex DeBrincat. And again, Donovan Sabrango was originally a 3rd-round pick. Let me just make sure. I'm very sure on the trade. I want to make sure, just because it is. I love making sure I get these trades right. So, yep, Donovan Sabrango, Dominic Kubalik, a 1st-round pick, and a 4th-round pick. I was correct. So cool. Just want to make sure I was good there. So that's a nice little piece of business that the Ottawa Senators got. It's just a depth player and everything, so not going to hit the bank. And again, everyone needs that depth and everything. So moving off of the Red Wings news, I do want to talk about these sick jerseys. Okay, these are the Seattle Kraken. If you can't see them on the podcast, I'll just tell them to you. They're all black, and this is like a really black, like not just like, hey, there's little pieces of black in this. This is an all black jersey from the Seattle Kraken, right? So you have the classic Seattle Kraken like logo, but it is only outlined in this like Seattle Kraken color with the red eye and everything as well. Go check it out online. And it's got some red on here. It's got some nice stripes kind of going from thicker to thinner as it goes up the jersey with the nice red at the end. Red seam on the bottom. And then again, for the podcast listeners, I'm teasing this on purpose. One of the reasons I'm only bringing up this one because Carolina released a jersey. It looks fine. Ottawa Senators released a jersey. It looks better than fine. I wouldn't say it's good, but it's better than fine. The reason I'm talking about this Seattle Kraken one is one, it's my wife's third favorite team. It is also glow in the dark, which everyone's like, oh, when is that gonna, like, when are they gonna play in the dark? Dude, it's not. You need to stand out, right? And I heard a podcast talk about this, that you absolutely need to stand out when you come out as the Seattle Kraken, the Vegas Golden Knights. They're not the Detroit Red Wings. They're not the New York Rangers, Chicago Blackhawks. These teams with these rich histories where they can bring back these classic jerseys and these throwback jerseys and everything. This team is like less than 5 years old. So they have to do things that are, maybe it comes off as gimmicky, but that are unique. And I cannot recall them ever having like a glow in the dark jersey. And if the kids like it and you're bringing younger generations in and the fans like it, that's okay. Like, just like trying something different is okay. Like people like, they get tired of oh my God, they're bringing like these colors and everything, right? Like we saw this with like when Tampa Bay has the same colors as Toronto Maple Leafs. Like it's either red or blue. Like it's like solid like colors. Like we're seeing the Seattle Kraken trying to do something cool with this teal, right? We're seeing the Vegas Golden Knights with this nice bright and gold. Like I like to see that these people are trying something different. And if you don't like it, guess what? You don't got to buy the jersey. But this is cool. They're really branching out, and again, they're trying to stand out as a brand, which I'm a huge fan of. So. Another big thing that happened in the news, we had the Carey Price trade happen, which we all knew was going to happen. He was due on September 5th, he was due a bonus of, I think it was $5 million. And so the San Jose Sharks acquired Carey Price for a 2026 5th-round pick, and Carey Price and a 2026 5th-round pick for Gannon LaRock. And so, real quick, doing Gannon LaRock, basically he's played in the ECHL. He's not a huge factor in this case. He was a right shot D, 4th-round pick in 2021. Still on his ELC. He's got last year's ELC. And again, his last they played with Barracuda. He had 0 games. He played 9 games in 23-24. Again, most played in the ECHL with the Wichita Thunder. He also played in the WHL. Looks like he maybe has some injuries or something like that. But either way, he's not a huge factor in this case. So that's not a huge deal. Then you have, again, Carey Price, the iconic goaltender of the Montreal Canadiens. He's the one that took him to the Stanley Cup playoffs or Stanley Cup finals in 2022, and when they versed the Vegas Golden Knights. We remember that epic first round with Toronto and Toronto and the Toronto and the Montreal Canadiens. Toronto loses the first game because they lose their captain in the first game, so they lose the first game, and then they go on to win 3 in a row, and then they go on to lose. Montreal wins to come back and wins 3 in a row in Game 7, and they go all in to Stanley Cup Finals. Now, the thing about the Carey Price contract, the reason this is so everyone's like, well, why would San Jose do this? If you look right here, like San Jose is at like now taking on a $10.5 million cap hit. So they're like, okay, that is a lot of money. Why are they willing to pay $10 million for a 5th round pick and trading out a guy? Well, it's not as simple as that looks. So first off, this is the last year of Carey Price's contract, right? He was owed like, I think it said $5 million contract. We can actually look at his contract because Puckpedia is phenomenal. So we're going to look at the contract right here. In it, there is a $5.5 million signing bonus. So that means that the San Jose Sharks are taking on they're only taking on $5 million of his contract. So you're like, oh, cool. So basically, if you were to trade for a $5 million contract, you wouldn't do it for a 5th round pick. And the thing is that, like, so we saw this with Mark Stahl was traded to the Detroit Red Wings. He was making $5 million for 1 year, same as Carey Price. And the New York Rangers had to attach a 2nd round pick to get rid of the Mark Stahl contract. Now, Carey Price, $5 million. Yes, technically he's making $5 million on his contract, but because he's injured and he will never play again, there's contracts you can insure in the NHL, and this contract was insured because it's so big. It was $10.5 million, and then they're insured in case the player gets injured. Then the team doesn't have to pay for the whole contract, right? So what ends up happening is they only have to pay for 60% of the contract. Well, what's 60% of $5 million? It's $2 million. So basically, the San Jose Sharks acquired Carey Price and moved out a player, right? So basically, they're taking on Carey Price's $2 million that they have to pay him this year. They're moving out a player who's making $800,000 cap hit, right? Which again, he's probably not making that much in the minors, but you're basically taking on $2 million. You're going to pay you're taking on a 5th round pick. And the reason you do this, if you're the San Jose Sharks, is you are still in the middle of a rebuild. And so everyone's like, well, it doesn't make sense. They're at the cap floor now. The cap ceiling is $95 million. The cap floor is $70 million. By taking on Carey Price's cap hit, they're now at $86 million, which means that before they were at $76 million, basically. Like, oh my God, they were still at the floor. Like they still were spending enough money to be justified. Yes, technically, but mind you, again, San Jose is in the middle of rebuild. What happens if they start trading off some players, right? There's guys like an Alex Wenberg making $5 million a year. What if you trade him and get assets for him, right? There's a guy like Jeff Skinner, got to sign a 1-year deal. What if you decide to trade him right now? That's gone $8 million right there, right? What if you trade a Nick Leddy, a Klingberg, a Mario Ferraro? You start to really like get lower and lower, and then such that you may not hit the cap floor. Now, what they can always do is, oh, well, what if they take on a bad? Well, they're like, oh my God, well, they took on a huge cap hit. Like, what if they take on some dead? Let's say they keep all these guys and they want to take on bad contracts, right? Let's say this guy's making $5 million, like Mark Stahl was, and they want to take him on. Like, well, eventually, they only have $9 million until they're going to hit the cap ceiling. Well, now they can just put Carey Price on LTIR, long-term injury reserve, and free up that cap space. And then now you have that availability to take on bad contracts. There's a lot of cap gymnastics. This allows them a lot of flexibility to be able to do whatever they want, right? This is such that they stay on the cap, above the cap floor, and such that if they do get close to the ceiling, they could throw him on LTIR and give them an extra $10.5 million in cap space. It's so interesting. I love the capology of all this stuff, which is why I'm explaining it to you, such that you can learn about it as well. So we're going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsor. So we'll be right back after this ad from DraftKings. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown scores to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. And if you think about this with some of the betting lines, I'm big on Lions. My wife and I watch Lions every week now. We just watched the terrible loss against Green Bay. But to me, I still see these guys as Super Bowl contenders, man. I can absolutely see it. Green Bay is looking very good. But again, I just see them. There's so much potential here. There's so much to work out with the new coordinators, but I can absolutely see it. So if you're looking to put a bet on the Lions to go big and go to the Super Bowl, go to DraftKings. You can do all your bets there. And for new customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code THPN. That's code THPN to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boo Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois. Void in Ontario. Bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer. And we are back, baby. Let's get this DraftKings off my face. So anyways, we are going to continue on just talking about this a little bit more. Again, Carey Price, I'm sure he's in they're going to get him, sign him. They're going to sign him to a one-day contract. And they're gonna get him on. They're gonna get him to be like, okay, he's finally finishing off as a Canadien, right? So, anyways, moving on to the next thing is we have a new contract that was signed. Again, this is the one I'm kind of catching up, mind you. So bear with me here. Frank Nazar signs a 7-year deal at $46.2 million. Which it means that he's making $5.599991 million per year on average. That's cap it basically. So it changes based on his bonuses and all that stuff, but basically that's what he's making. So, and this is the reason this is a big deal, is this is considered an unprecedented deal because even though he signed at 21, he just signed a $46.2 million contract. And the reason this is a big deal is because Frank Nazar has not played a lot of games. Last year, he played 53 games. And in those 53 games, he had 26 points. He was about a half point per game player. And even that during the season, he started in the AHL with the Ice Hogs, putting up 24 points in 21 games, 11 goals, 13 assists. So he was putting up over a point per game in the AHL. So they call him up. They say, hey, you're doing really well. 26 points in 53 games. So at only 53 games, he is, I think this is based on his production, this is the highest or one of the highest contracts that you're paying for a guy who's only put up half point per game, right? So you're looking at a guy who's making now $42 million. So why would Chicago do this? Why would Kyle Davidson do this? Well, he's doing this because he's trying to bet that Frank Nazar is going to be better than what he is right now, right? He's betting that, hey, this kid who they drafted, I think it was like 9th overall, I want to say. I swear I just had it. 13th overall in 2022. They're saying this guy, he's going to be good. So we're going to pay him now. And for, $6.5 million a year, like that's high, right? That's high for right now. But again, you're assuming that he's going to get better and better, and this deal's going to get better, and the cap's going to go up, and it's just going to save you that much more money. So by doing this, I mean, let's look at his production back when he was in juniors, maybe not juniors, but in the AHL. So wait, no, here we go. In the University of Michigan, as a 19-year-old, 41 points in 41 games. So a point per game in the NCAA is phenomenal. Love to see that on a stacked U of M team. So to me, he's doing that in NCAA. Then he did that in the AHL. So point per game in the AHL as well. So I think what they're assuming is that based on his production and what he's capable of at only 21 years old, the thing, and this guy can be a point per game player as well in the NHL. And if you're getting a point per game player at the price that you're getting him at, that is phenomenal. By the way, this contract doesn't even take place until next year, until the following year. So he signed this and doesn't even start until the following year. So they're set. They're so set with this contract. So they're betting that he's gonna do really well. And what does this do for Frank Nazar? Why would he sign this? This is guaranteed money now. Now, in case he gets hurt or something like that, he has the money coming in and everything. But this is a guarantee for him, such that he knows he's set for life, making millions and millions and millions of dollars. So good for him. Another contract we saw get signed, Connor Zary, a $3.775 million per year contract, a 3-year deal. It's an $11 million deal basically for the Calgary Flames. Why was this a big deal? Well, one, they needed to sign him, so they bridged him. So, and the reason you bridge a guy like Connor Zary is he's 23 years old on a Calgary team that is not super good, right? But they're like, he's okay. And look at this. Look at the production he had last year in comparison to what he had. What we just talked about Frank Nazar. Frank Nazar was about a half point per game player in the NHL as a 21-year-old. Connor Zary, as a 23-year-old, is a half a point per game player, 27 points in 54 games, literally half point per game player. And so you're like, okay, why is that a big deal? Well, you gotta think this guy's put up half point per game player, being a half a point per game player. And the Frank Nazar just signed for like $6.5 million a year. So you're like, oh, well, Connor Zary, should get the same thing, right? Well, he didn't. He got half that value at half the term. So while Frank Nazar is 21, that contract starts when he's 22, and it'll take him until he's 30 years old. He's set for the majority of his NHL career. Connor Zary is now saying, hey, no, I'm going to take a shorter term deal. I think I'm going to get only better. And at the end of this 3-year deal, I'm going to get paid. Or Calgary Flames are like, I don't think you're going to get much better. We don't want to sign long term. So it could go either way because Calgary Flames are not at a spot. They're in that middling spot where they're not sure if they're going to get better or worse. And so do they want to bet a lot of money on a guy who hasn't fully proven himself yet? Maybe. But at 23 years old, you start to lose that runway in the development time because you're not going to get exponentially better. You're going to get better for sure. But like it's rare to see guys just break out after, after a certain number of seasons, right? There's only so much headspace that you can continue to grow. You just build habits, you get older and everything. I know about getting older, but unfortunately my NHL days are behind me, but and they're behind me because I never played. So, but this is a cheap deal for Connor Zary. I think it's a smart deal for the Calgary Flames. I'm surprised he didn't take a little bit more, but again, it will have to prove himself, and that's what this contract is here for, is for him to prove himself. So, moving on to another contract real quick. Dennis Hilldeby, 24 years old. This is the third goalie for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He'll be playing down in the AHL. Most likely, he signs basically a really cheap deal because there's no guarantee that this guy is eventually going to be in the NHL. He's a 6'7", though. He is 6'7", and so he is a massive deal. He's massive in the sense that he's a big boy, right? He's 6'7", 223. Hey, we weigh the same. But to me, like, this is I'm surprised that this guy is signing such a cheap deal. Again, I think he's going to be a huge. I mean, he could potentially break out as a really good player. But the thing is, Toronto Maple Leafs have two really good goalies in Stolarz and Woll. So what the thing is that they're probably not going to be like, hey, we don't need him to be anything. We don't even know if he's going to break into the NHL either. So he may not do anything. He may not do anything at all. Let's look at how he did last year, because he came up for a little stint, and is not pulling up, of course. His stats. Oh, there we go. His stats. So Maple Leafs last year, he had 6 games, an 878 save percentage, not great. But in the AHL, he played 30 games as a 908 save percentage. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good save percentage. So I mean, Dennis Hilldeby gets a guaranteed contract, I guess. He gets to stick around the NHL. Mind you, goalies take a little longer to develop as well. So you have to consider that the Toronto Maple Leafs have 2 goalies, right? If we look at the goalies right now, they have Anthony Stolarz, who they're probably going to end up extending. He's 31 years old. Joseph Woll, he signed this $3.6 million contract for 3 years the last year, right? And that means he signed this deal at 26. The current deal that the Hilldeby just signed is going to take until he's 26, right? 24, 25, 26. Yeah, maybe he'll be 27. But these goalies take longer to break out. It's rare to see like a goalie that's 22 years old and just start to like tear up the NHL. It does happen, but it's rare, right? Goalies just take time. They take more maturity. They need to get more technical a lot of times. And this guy has the size to be a really good goalie. He's 6'7", right? So in 3 years, like you hope that maybe Stolarz gets injured or something like that. He's been known to be injury prone, and he's a new starter. He is last year was his first year being a starter at 31 years old. So it just takes time for these guys to mature. And so maybe he takes a little bit more time to mature, and he grows his game a little bit and gets a little bit better. And then he's kind of covered. So I could absolutely see that working out for him. So, and clearly he'll get a little more time in the AHL. Maybe comes up in 2 years, something like that. It just depends on how well Stolarz or Wolves continues to play. So moving on to the next deal, Marco Rossi signs for a $3 million deal for $5 million a year. Marco Rossi was originally asking, he's 23 years old. He was originally asking for a $7 million per year deal for 7 years, which would be a $49 million deal. He ends up settling on a $15 million deal, $5 million at 3 years. In my opinion, I don't know why you trade Marco Rossi. The one thing they didn't like about him is that he is small. He is a small player, which happens, right? You have guys that are just a little bit on the smaller side, and that's okay. It's just like you have to consider that he's not going to be as maybe like down in the gritty, the dirtier areas. So looking at how tall he is right now, he is, I think he's like 5'10" or 5'9". Where's he at? 5'9", 195, 192. So he's big for his height, but he's 5'9", right? 23-year-old center. And so you look at a guy like him, you're like, and Bill Guerin likes his big boys, the GM of the Minnesota Wild. He likes his big guys, but you have to consider that for a second line center, he put 60 points in 82 games. It's a good production. It's a really good production. So to me, whether you look at a guy like Rossi, like why wouldn't you want to keep a guy like this? I mean, he had really good production. Let's see his playoff stats. I think he was playing like 10 minutes a night. He still had 3 points in 6 games in the playoffs. So he still played really well. He had a reduced role. And that was one that they definitely talked about whether they wanted to keep him. I think this deal is not in Marco Rossi's favor. The thing is he is a restricted free agent, which means that the team has control over him and everything. And this still keeps him as an RFA, restricted free agent, until he's 26. And which means that even when this contract's done, the team who has his rights will still be able to control him. And that way they're still able to just dictate what they want to do with him. So this is smart on Bill Guerin, is that they're not walking him to free agency such that they just lose the asset completely. And so to me, I think this ends up being a bummer for Rossi because he doesn't get to make as much money. He doesn't get the term that he wants, the security. Clearly there's a little bit of a rift. I think Minnesota doesn't like that they have him, but I think $5 million a year at 3 years, I think this is a guy that's definitely movable, right? So we saw a guy like Dylan Cousins get moved for Josh Norris. Those guys are in like that center position and everything. those guys, the contracts are movable, right? This is a movable contract for $5 million. It's not too expensive. You're going to get a guy who's an RFA. He's always under team control. So to me, this is fine. It's kind of a bummer for Rossi because I don't think he gets what he wants. But again, if he wants to not be part of the Minnesota Wild anymore, then this is a team where they can definitely move him and everything. I think this works more in the favor of the team than, again, Rossi. So last two things, in the ECHL's Utah Grizzlies, according to Frank Saravalli, let's actually we're gonna do this. Is relocating to Trenton, New Jersey to play at Cure Insurance Arena, the former home of the Titans for the 26-27 season. So the Utah Grizzlies, again, this is an ECHL, kind of a bummer. They're an affiliate of the Colorado Avalanche, but looks like they will be moving. So as a bummer for the Utah team, but again, they just got an NHL team, so not too shabby, not too bad of a trade-off, right? And this is the biggest news, and I should have let off with this. The Montreal Canadiens mourn the passing of Ken Dryden, Hall of Fame goaltender who won 6 Stanley Cups with the team in 9 years. 9 years this guy did it. And I'm actually going to read part of this article that the Canadiens, the press release that the Montreal Canadiens released, because he died at 78 years old of cancer. He passed. Again, this guy was phenomenal. Born in 47. He made his debut in 70-71, played 6 regular season games and won all of them. So he won all the games in his first season. It was only 6, right? Then he took them all the way to the Stanley Cup finals in 70-71. Okay, a rookie goaltender takes you all the way to the Stanley Cup finals. Crazy, right? And then winning the actual Stanley Cup in his first postseason. You're like, holy smokes, this guy's crazy. He posted a 12-8 record in the 20 playoffs games, in addition to winning the Conn Smythe, which means he won the most valuable player in the Stanley Cup playoffs that year, which is crazy. So he won the Stanley Cup and the Conn Smythe, and he only played 6 games, which is nuts, right? Mind you, he technically started his rookie year, but like he didn't have enough. He was still considered available for the Calder because he's still considered a rookie. He only played 6 games the year prior, even though he won the Stanley Cup as the goalie, right? Then he goes, and the next year he wins the Calder Trophy as the league's top rookie in 71-72. Wild, right? And then he would go add 5 more Stanley Cups in the 70s with the Canadiens. He won the Vezina as the league's top goaltender 5 times dude, that's crazy. 72 and then 72 to 73, and then 4 consecutive seasons after that, 75 to 79. He would retire in 79, which is holy smokes. This guy, and then of course the Canadiens retire his number in 2007. So this guy is just like a monster. He has a great book called The Game, and these are a couple books I want to take care of, and they knock these out. But again, what a monster. I mean, of course you got to retire this guy's number. 6 Stanley Cups. This guy is, again, crazy. 6 of the 26, I think, the Canadiens have. So again, all best to the Dryden family and everything. And I hope they take the time they need and everything. But this guy is a monster. He's well loved within Montreal and within the hockey community. And with that, we are going to be ending for the night. Thanks for sticking around for the news. We'll knock out the prospects. I think I'll probably end up doing that tomorrow night. We'll do that instead for the prospect game that'll be happening. And we had some really interesting things to talk about. Nate Danielson's on the team, and it's a little bit confusing. But I think the Red Wings are trying to get a couple looks at it. But we will talk about that later this week, so stay tuned. I'll definitely post it before the prospect game, which is coming up this week, and we'll talk about it then. So love you guys. See you then. Bye.